All right, so we're gonna start off with the movie that we weren't able to do. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Which is Die Hard. And it falls within the theme of this month of off Christmas movies. Because we could have been lazy jerks and just done Wonderful Life and whatever. But
Great.
yeah, great movie. Don't not to take away from It's a Wonderful Life. It's one of my favorite movies. Um, it's interesting if we had the mind to it. Could we have also considered Citizen Kane an off Christmas movie?
You're right. I think that would be. I would agree with that.
Right? Yeah. I mean, well, but we already have our schedule, so.
Maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. We only have one. We only have one movie left, and we've already just set out the schedule, and so yeah. So yes, this last week's was supposed to be Die Hard, the first one. And for those of you who don't know, or are too young to know, it's the story of Officer John McClane, and he is separated from his wife, and he gets he gets invited to her company's Christmas party. Kind of unbeknownst to her. And during this Christmas party, a group of terrorists come and seize the building. But luckily for our hero, he is not with he's not captured and placed with the others, but he kind of runs around the building, running afoul of the terrorist plot, which is not to start some great grand revolution or affect some sort of political change, but it was just to steal all the assets that were within the office building, within the company's safe.
Right.
And so yes, I mean we're not the first ones to kind of do this or even debate it, but it's a long kind of history of whether or not to consider Die Hard a Christmas movie. But I am fully in the camp of considering Die Hard a Christmas movie.
Yeah, I agree, because you brought up the point a number of weeks ago when we were discussing all this, that because a lot of Christmas movies are about you either have like an element of people coming together against all odds, or there's some sort of redemption story, and I think there's a lot of it that all that kind of fits in this film. Like you have John McClane, who is estranged from his wife and is not with his kids, but at the end they come together and
they reconcile.
You have a redemption story in we know him as the actor Reginald Val. Was it Reginald Val Johnson?
Yeah, Reginald Val Johnson.
Yeah, who from Family Matters,
yes.
But
Carl Winslow.
Yeah. But he's in what's his character's name in the movie? I always forget. Did you?
Yes, I did look it up. It was his name. I was right about his first name. His first name was Al. Last name Powell.
Al Powell. That's right, yeah. Officer Powell,
yes.
Who had in the line of duty accidentally he had shot and killed a person that he had thought had a weapon. Turned out that he did not.
Yeah.
And because
it was a toy. It was a toy because it was like a young kid, and he thought he had one of those toy guns, and he I guess it was like dark or something, and he thought it was real, and so he drew his weapon.
And so he kind of was. I don't know if it was self-inflicted or if he was just not really allowed to do certain things as a cop, and had kind of just was definitely pun unintended. He was gun shy. He didn't really want to
Yeah,
being the
no, because
action.
like when yeah, because he was probably on like some administrative like non you know administrative like clerical work because he when he was talking with McLean, he was saying that like, oh, I was actually on my way home when I got the call, and so
Yeah,
yeah, we do see him picking up some hostess pastries, presumably for his wife.
yeah,
We're not 100% sure if that's true. I mean, oh, unless you watch the second movie, then you're 100% sure who's it for. But yeah, he got the call about gunshots being fired, and then like he was the closest patrol car uh, to the scene, and so away he goes, and it advances the story.
yeah. And so yeah, I would totally agree that this is a this is definitely a Christmas film.
Yes, I mean, yeah, because again, just like just as I told Robert, yes, every Christmas story, there's redemption, a reconciliation, coming together of a family or a community, and this, Die Hard has all those things.
Yeah, and if you also like ass kicking action, this is definitely the movie for you.
Right. I mean, because Die Hard was kind of unique, a unique movie for its time because you had during that time you had like your Schwarzeneggers, your Stallones, um, basically muscle on muscle on muscle. And here comes Bruce Willis's John McClane, who's kind of dumpy, kind of like dad bod ish,
Yeah, that's right.
and yeah, and he goes and he like kicks, he kicks some like serious terrorist ass, and so it's like it totally broke the conventional norms of the action hero.
Right, and it's like and it's funny because I would think like one of my favorite action heroes is John McClane. I think John McClane
Yeah,
is a he's he's an awesome. So
yeah,
he's
he
awesome.
is a legitimate action hero. We're
Yeah,
not let's not try to take away anything away from it. He's a legitimate action hero.
but yeah, he's definitely not like whatever Schwarzenegger would do in his action roles as like the Terminator or
Or
Stallone
Predator,
or
or Running Man, or
yeah. Um, I mean, you could even like argue it's like even not even like Mel Gibson either. Who is but but yeah, definitely I love Die Hard to death. I think it's it's one now the first one is not my favorite one.
right, yeah,
Uh
yeah. I mean, yes, you, yeah.
and
What
I
you, I think in another stream you, what is it? You expressed that the third one, Die Hard with a Vengeance, is your absolute favorite
yeah,
Die Hard movie.
absolute that's my absolute favorite Die Hard film. But
Okay.
the first one is very, very good.
Mm,
And it is a Christmas film.
yes, and also something uh, something I realized. Die Hard, the first Die Hard is probably the most conservative movie uh, within the Die Hard franchise.
Explain that.
Okay, well, because first you have this man, and he's put in like the most direst and most preposterous straight situation possible,
Okay.
and he's able to hold his own. And you might be able to you might say yes, but well, he's a policeman, so he's had some training. It's like, okay, fine, granted, but still,
Granted,
to like
yeah.
he even has like that kind of in the beginning when Hans Gruber, played to perfection by Alan Rickman, goes and kills the CEO of the company. he starts running. He kind of has like this kind of internal conversation with himself, and it's like, oh, John, why didn't you stop him? You could have stopped him. You're a cop. You're supposed to do something. And he's like, but then he kind of reasons with himself. It's like, well, then if you did, then you would have probably died too, or you would have been caught and and put with the others, or you, at the very worst case scenario, you'd be dead.
Right.
Right. And so he's having a real response or reaction to the situation, not like a Stallone or a Schwarzenegger where he would he confidently kick in the door and start spraying bullets. He realizes like the absurdity of the situation, and also like how outmanned and outgunned he is.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I forgot that he was in that scene when the CEO was killed by Hans Gruber.
Exactly. Yes. But also then, I'm sorry, continue.
No, there's a lot of those moments within the film as he's going through where it's like, he's having that internal dialogue. It's like,
he's like the constant internal monologue, when he's like in the famous lighter scene in the air duct. It's like, yeah, come out to California, have some drinks, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Oh man, it's like I feel like a.
It's like, now I know what a TV dinner feels like.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah, some really great one-liners too, and it was funny because I was thinking of starting off with the review with the most famous is yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, because he has this on the radio. He's talking about Western films and stuff.
Right, yeah, and they're there's this kind of sussing out between the two main characters of John McClane and Hans Gruber. Where they're trying to figure, they're trying to suss each other out, and Hans Gruber is trying to make this cultural reference, all these cultural references, oh, are you just one of those, culturally bankrupt Americans who grew up watching too much Gary Cooper and things like that, and and those of you who don't know, Gary Cooper, he's famous for playing kind of morally upright law types in Western movies.
Right.
But then but then John McClane retorts back, actually I'm more of a the singing cowboy. Who does he say? Was it Gene Autry?
No, it wasn't Gene.
No, Autry. It wasn't.
God, I can't remember it was another famous Western star.
Yeah, it wasn't like the star you would think, a Gary Cooper type. It was more of the singing cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers.
Right, that was the one. Thank you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Roy Rogers.
Yeah.
It's yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Right. Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, but anyways, back to my point of how this is the most conservative Die Hard movie. But then he also then tries to reach out for help to the local police, and then the local police come, but then they're easily duped into thinking that this it was just a false alarm. And so he sees he sees the sirens, or he sees the lights from the cop cars, and all of a sudden he's like, yes, they're coming. And then all of a sudden they put in a quick call, oh yeah, we're just having a problem with the security system. It's like, oh, okay. And so the cops turn around and they leave. It's like, no. And then finally when the cops do get there, the I guess the one in charge, not necessarily, I think it was a deputy chief. He's kind of an idiot. Kind of like a lot of bureaucrats are. They're just kind of useless. They just they're an empty suit.
Yeah.
And then again, they're no help. The local government is not of any help. And then even when the federal government, when the FBI comes, the federal government comes, they're of no use either, because they're so detached from the situation. And it's funny because like even though the agents that come are played by two ethnically different men, one's a white guy, one's a black guy, they both have the same name. Illustrating how they're just like this nameless institution. And
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch for on the
exactly.
script.
And then like when the two FBI agents are putting their plan into motion, it's exactly by the book, which plays into the plans of Hans Gruber, because he was expecting them to follow the playbook for like terrorist hostage situations, and which they do. But then even like the detachedness of the FBI agents is felt, because like they're in the helicopter and it's like, oh yeah, we'll light them up, and then we'll lose about 25% of the hostages, but we'll save the building. And then like the other agents like, I can live with that.
Yeah,
And so it's up to John McClane, this individual, to go and rectify the situation, for him to handle the situation for himself.
yeah. The
That
what
way,
is it? One of my,
in that way, this is the most conservative Die Hard.
yeah, I think that's I think you might be right.
As always.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way, but yeah, that's yeah, you make a good point. The one of my favorite scenes from the movie too was I think it was right as Officer Powell is getting involved,
Mm-hmm.
and he's trying. John McClane's desperately trying to get his attention,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, but he starts getting in this fight with one of the terrorists, and he ends up like I think shooting him through the window and like kind of kicks him out. It's like, welcome to the party, asshole. It's like, can he knock him down?
Yeah. Because at that point, Officer Powell, he engages. Well, not in like the violent kind, but he kind of interacts with one of the terrorists in disguise as a security guard, and and then he takes like 2 steps into the building, kind of looks around, like, this is bullshit, and like turns around, like walks out,
Gets in his car.
yeah, it's just like, yeah, sorry to bother you. He's like, no, no, and it's like exchanging pleasantries with the disguised terrorist. Yeah, and then John McClane throws a dead terrorist out the window and right into Officer Powell's car, and that's when things.
And they start opening fire on.
Yeah, they start opening fire on him, and that's when he starts then gets on the he gets out of there like a mad. He reverses out of there like a madman and calls it in. It's like oh, shots fired, shots fired.
Send everybody.
Yeah.
But it's like welcome to the party, asshole.
Yeah. So this movie. Yeah, this is like one of the really one of the great movies from like the era of like of the '80s. And I think it just ticks all the boxes, all the checklists. And it should definitely be on everyone's watch list.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The did you know that they sell that the first terrorist that John McClane kills, and he like writes that message out on his sweater?
Oh.
They have that. I have a machine gun now.
Yeah.
They sell
Yeah.
that. I was very tempted to buy it.
Dude, that'd be the best holiday sweater ever.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'd rock it to every Christmas party.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, is it technically, we've been watching a ton of classic films, throughout the year, and does it hold up to like, would I hold it in the same to the same candle as like a Casablanca or some of those type of films? No, it's not that type of film, but
Right.
this is definitely because I'm a huge fan of action films. I would say this is probably it's right up there as like one of my top action films of all time.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah. Again, I wouldn't necessarily equate a Casablanca with Die Hard, but I think in terms of satisfaction, they're the same. In terms of like getting like that kind of personal satisfaction derived from watching the movies, I think they're on par there.
Yeah, no, it's a great movie.
Yeah, and yeah, it's like, and and like all the good guys, or at least the two main good guys, John McClane and Al Powell, they both get their reconciliation. They all get their redemption. John McClane in him getting his wife back, but then also Al Powell when he redeemed himself as a police officer when he is able to take action against one of the terrorists.
Yeah.
And what I'm referencing is spoiler alerts. It shouldn't be a spoiler alert because it's been over 30 years. But spoiler alert: one of the terrorists that John McClane seemingly kills off, he miraculously appears with a gun and about to shoot McClane. All of a sudden, a few shots ring out, and then we see the end of the barrel, and all of a sudden a tight shot of the barrel, and all of a sudden it opens up, and you see Officer Powell, was at the other end of the gun.
Yeah.
Basically, fulfilling his arc within the story. He was this cop. He killed a kid. He didn't think he could ever draw his weapon again. But when the situation demanded it of him, he was able to step up and fulfill his function as a peace officer.
Yeah, so that was it was a great moment.
Yeah, it's like one of those like very like satisfying kind of moments.
Yeah, it's just a lot of this movie had like it has a lot of the great one-liners in there. I think Bruce Willis as John McClane is just, oh god, he's so funny. Like it's he's a funny action star.
I think. Maybe, I mean, I don't know if I'm 100% right about this, but he might be one of like the first like sarcastic, smartassy action stars.
See, and I like lead characters that are like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that's why I back in the 90s, the old Spider-Man cartoon on Fox.
Yeah. Very snarky, very sarcastic.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that iteration of the character because it was because it's still held true to the comic books. Because in the comic books, he was very snarky, and he was very quick with like the one-liners too.
Right, and so I always like characters like that. So to me, like that's why.
Which is sad that Sam Raimi's Spider-Man didn't really have that. I mean, they did try to inject some of it like here and there, but it just wasn't as natural as say Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, where he was really quick with like the snark and the one-liners.
Right. But yeah, no, that's why I love John McClane so much, because he's that smart ass action star.
Right. Yeah. Like even when he was interacting with police dispatch, the operator, she was giving him canned answers. It's like, oh, sir, you are in violation of FCC statute 1936-2 something or other. And then he quickly replies like, oh, it's like, fine, write me a ticket or something.
It's like, fine, come down here and arrest me. Just
yeah, exactly. Just send somebody. Or like she was like, and then like in the beginning she was saying like, oh sir, this is a official police channel. Any unauthorized usage is And then he's like, well, what do you think I'm trying to do? Ordering a fucking pizza?
Yeah. Oh, it makes me just reliving the movie. It makes me want to watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just one of those good like movies that you could just watch all the time and you still get a kick out of it, even though how it's gonna be or end. You just have a good time watching that movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, okay, let's give it our rating. I'm gonna give it. I think this might be my first 5.
Ooh. Oh man, I'm gonna go a little bit lower than that. I'm gonna go 4.5, just because I saved that 5-star rating for Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Oh, whack.
I'm sorry. Die Hard with a Vengeance is the greatest Die Hard film of all time.
All right.
Plus, hey, and it's technically, to me, it is the spiritual successor to the original Die Hard, because the bad guy in that one is connected to Hans Gruber.
All right, yeah, okay, fair point. All right, so there you go. There you have it. There's our Die Hard review. I give it a 5. Robert gives it a 4.5 because he's lame. Yeah, so now go and watch for yourself. And let us know. If you feel the same way as either of us, or not. You could tell us that we're completely wrong, and we have or give us your own assessment of the movie.